The security officer kicked a worn backpack off the library steps. "You can't sleep here," he said. The older man reached for it, but his knee buckled. Eleanor Price stepped between them. She was 57, tired, and already late for work. Still, she picked up the backpack and handed the man her unopened breakfast. "He wasn't bothering anyone," she said. The stranger thanked her, then glanced at the eviction notice taped beside the entrance. "That notice cites the wrong section of city code," he said. "Whoever wrote it expected nobody to check." Eleanor studied him. His coat was frayed, but his voice carried quiet authority. Who was this man, and why did he understand property law better than the city? Before we continue, ask yourself this. Would you trust someone who clearly knew more than he admitted? The officer backed away after Eleanor threatened to call his supervisor. His name was Curtis Bell, and he worked for the private company guarding the block. He disliked conflict, but he disliked paperwork even more. Eleanor unlocked the doors of the Willow Creek Community Library. The building had served the Ohio town for 83 years. Now, a redevelopment company planned to replace it with luxury apartments and retail space. The city council claimed the library would relocate. Nobody could say where. Eleanor had more reasons to worry than most. She was raising her 12-year-old granddaughter, Ava, after losing her daughter 3 years earlier. The library paycheck covered groceries, school supplies, and little else. Still, Eleanor refused pity. Her goal was simple: keep the library open long enough for the town to fight back. The stranger introduced himself as Daniel Hart. He said he had arrived by bus and needed somewhere warm until a job interview. "You have an interview dressed like that?" Eleanor asked. Daniel looked down at his faded coat. "I was hoping confidence might distract them." "It won't." "That bad?" "The missing button is making a statement. For the first time." He laughed. Eleanor found him a sewing kit from the library's emergency cabinet. Daniel repaired the button with careful, practiced hands. Then he spent 2 hours reading, planning records, and old council minutes. At noon, Ava arrived with Eleanor's neighbor, Marisol Vega. Ava noticed Daniel immediately. "Grandma, is he homeless?" Eleanor lowered her voice. "He's a guest." Daniel heard her anyway. He did not look offended. He only closed the folder in front of him. Inside that folder was a purchase agreement bearing the name Caldwell Urban Holdings. At the bottom was a signature Daniel recognized instantly. He shut the folder before Eleanor could see why. Daniel waited until Eleanor left the records table. Then he opened the folder again. The signature belonged to Owen Reed, Caldwell Urban Holdings Regional Director. Reed had approved the purchase 3 weeks earlier. Daniel had never authorized it. That mattered because Daniel Hart was not an unemployed drifter. He was Caldwell's 61-year-old chairman and majority owner. For months, employee complaints had vanished before reaching his office. Small towns reported rushed purchases, false promises, and pressure from local managers. Daniel's board blamed poor communication. He suspected something worse. After his wife died, Daniel had stopped visiting Caldwell properties. He stayed behind reports, assistants, and polished presentations. That distance had made him easy to mislead. He came to Willow Creek without security or company transportation. Only his attorney knew where he was. His plan was to observe the project for 2 weeks, then confront the people responsible. He had not planned to meet Eleanor. Across the room, she helped a teenager complete an online job application. She never spoke down to him. She only showed him where he had skipped a question. Ava sat nearby, building a model bridge from craft sticks. One side leaned badly. "It needs another support," Daniel said. Ava looked at him. "Are you an engineer?" "No." "Then how do you know?" "I've seen expensive buildings fail for cheaper reasons." Ava considered that answer. "You talk like a documentary." Eleanor covered a smile. "She means that as a compliment." Marisol arrived carrying a paper bag from her family bakery. She was 52, direct, and protective of Eleanor. She handed Daniel a cheese roll, then examined him carefully. "So, "What kind of job interview brings you to Willow Creek? Property maintenance." It was close enough to the truth to make him uncomfortable. Marisol did not look convinced. "You have very clean fingernails for maintenance." "I washed my hands." That answer was too fast. Eleanor interrupted before the questions continued. She asked Daniel to help move donated books instead. He accepted without complaint. They worked together in the basement for nearly an hour. Eleanor explained why the library mattered. Children used it after school. Seniors attended computer classes. Job seekers needed the internet. "This place does more than lend books," Daniel said. "Most libraries do," Eleanor replied. "People only notice after someone tries to close them." Daniel stopped beside a stack of tax records. "What would you do if the sale was cancelled?" "I'd ask who cancelled it." "And why?" "You wouldn't, simply celebrate?" "I'm too old to trust miracles without paperwork." Upstairs, the front door opened. Owen Reed entered wearing a pressed suit and a public smile. Daniel turned away before Reed could recognize him. Owen Reed entered the library with 2 city officials behind him. His smile looked friendly, but his eyes moved quickly around the room. "We're here to review the property before the transition," he said. Eleanor folded her arms. "There is no transition until the council approves a relocation plan." Reed's smile tightened. "The process is already moving forward." Daniel kept his back turned and lifted another box. Reed had met him twice at company retreats. Both times, Daniel had been surrounded by executives and security. Now he wore a faded coat and work boots. Reed glanced at him once, then looked away. That bothered Daniel more than he expected. Reed handed Eleanor a packet of forms. He claimed the library would close within 30 days. Staff members could apply for temporary positions at another branch. "The nearest branch is 27 miles away," Eleanor said. "That is not our decision. It became your decision when your company bought this building." Reed lowered his voice. "Mrs. Price, fighting this will not change the outcome." Daniel stepped closer. "What public hearing approved the closure date?" Reed turned toward him. "And you are someone who reads the fine print." One city official hid a smile. Reed did not. "This is a private business matter," he said. "It involves public funds and a community service," Daniel replied. "That makes it everyone's business." Eleanor touched Daniel's arm. The gesture was small, but clear. She did not need him turning the meeting into a fight. Reed left, after 10 tense minutes. Before walking out, he warned Eleanor not to interfere with scheduled inspections. The room stayed quiet until Marisol spoke. "That man smiles like he charges interest on apologies." Ava laughed. Even Eleanor did. Daniel spent the afternoon helping Eleanor compare council records with the purchase agreement. Several dates did not match. One inspection had been approved before the city received the application. "You were right," Eleanor said. "Someone expected nobody to check." Daniel looked at her. "You checked. I check everything that threatens my family." He understood that better than she knew. Later, they walked to Marisol's bakery with Ava between them. Daniel carried the girl's broken model bridge in a grocery bag. He had promised to help repair it. Eleanor watched him explain balance and support without taking over the project. He asked Ava what she thought first. That mattered to Eleanor. Outside the bakery, Daniel stopped beneath the warm light from the window. "You protect everyone," he said. "Who protects you?" Eleanor gave him a tired smile. "I stopped waiting for that years ago." Daniel wanted to tell her she should not have to. Instead, he said, "Maybe waiting isn't the only option." Across the street, Owen Reed sat inside a parked sedan, watching them. The next morning, Owen Reed returned before the library opened. This time, he came alone. Daniel was outside repairing a loose railing. Reed stopped near the steps and studied him more carefully. "Have we met?" Reed asked. "I don't think so. You look familiar." Daniel tightened the final screw. "People say that when they can't remember someone's name." Reed did not smile. "You ask a lot of questions for a handyman, and you avoid a lot of answers for a regional director." Reed stepped closer. His voice stayed calm. "Whatever Eleanor promised you, this building is already sold. She didn't promise me anything." "Then stay out of it." Daniel watched him leave. He had spent years reading men like Reed inside conference rooms. The polished tone was familiar. So was the threat hiding beneath it. His phone rang moments later. Only one person had the number. Rachel Sloane, Caldwell's general counsel, spoke before Daniel could greet her. "Owen requested access to your travel schedule," she said. "He knows someone is reviewing Willow Creek. Did you give him anything?" "No. But the board meeting was moved to Friday." Daniel looked through the library windows. Eleanor was helping Ava finish homework at the front desk. "I may need more time. You already found unauthorized documents." "I found signs. I need proof." Rachel was quiet for a moment. "Daniel, be careful. Observing your company is one thing. Building relationships under a false identity is another." His grip tightened around the phone. "I'm not using Eleanor. You may not intend to. That doesn't mean she won't feel used." The warning followed him inside. That afternoon, Eleanor invited Daniel to Thanksgiving dinner. The holiday was 4 days away, and Marisol had already planned enough food for 15 people. "You don't have to come," Eleanor said, "but nobody should eat alone." Daniel hesitated. "You barely know me. I know you fixed Ava's bridge. I know you helped with those records. I also know you pretend not to be lonely." He gave her a surprised look. Eleanor shrugged. "Librarians notice what people leave unsaid." Daniel wanted to tell her everything. He could have explained the company, the investigation, and the reason he came to town. Instead, fear made the decision for him. "I'd like to come," he said. Her smile made the lie feel heavier. That evening, Ava posted a photo of the repaired bridge on the library's social media page. Daniel stood in the background beside Eleanor. Within an hour, someone at Caldwell headquarters recognized him. By Wednesday morning, Daniel's photograph had reached Owen Reed. Reed enlarged the image on his office screen. The faded coat did not fool him anymore. He had seen that face beside Caldwell's board chairman in annual reports. Then he noticed the name under the library post, Daniel Hart. Reed called Rachel Sloane and demanded answers. She refused to confirm anything. That was enough. At the library, Daniel helped Eleanor carry folding chairs into the meeting room. The town planned to discuss the closure after Thanksgiving. Eleanor had spent the morning collecting signatures and correcting rumors. "You look worried," she said. "I have a meeting Friday." "About the job interview?" Daniel paused. "About why I came here." Eleanor waited, but he did not continue. "You know," she said, "mystery is charming for about 3 days. After that it becomes paperwork." He almost laughed. Instead, he looked at her and made a decision. "I need to tell you something tonight." Before Eleanor could answer, Marisol entered with 2 pies and a complaint about Ava stealing whipped cream. The moment passed. Thanksgiving dinner began at 6 inside Marisol's bakery. Eleanor sat beside Daniel. Ava argued with Marisol's son, Luis, about the proper amount of gravy. For 1 hour, Daniel felt like an ordinary man welcomed into an ordinary family. No one asked about his money. No one needed a favor. Then Owen Reed walked through the bakery door. He wore no coat, despite the cold. Behind him stood Curtis Bell and one of Caldwell's public relations managers. "Mr. Hart," Reed said. "The board has been trying to reach you." The room went silent. Eleanor looked at Daniel. "Mr. Hart?" Reed placed a company folder on the table. Daniel's official portrait covered the front page. Ava stared at the photograph, then at him. "You own the company?" Daniel stood slowly. "Eleanor, let me explain." Reed spoke first. "Daniel Hart owns Caldwell Urban Holdings. He also owns the company buying your library." Marisol moved closer to Eleanor. "You said you needed a maintenance job." Daniel kept his eyes on Eleanor. "I came to investigate Reed and the purchase. I didn't approve the closure." "That isn't what she asked," Marisol said. Eleanor's face remained calm, but her hands had gone still. How long were you planning to let me believe you had nothing? She asked. I never said I was homeless. No, you let me assume it. I should have told you. You accepted my food. You sat with my granddaughter. You came into my home. Daniel swallowed. Everything I felt with you was real. Eleanor pushed her chair back. I cared about the man you showed me, she said. Now I don't know which parts were real. She walked out before Daniel could answer. This time, he did not follow her. Eleanor walked home through the cold without calling anyone. She needed silence more than comfort. Daniel stayed at the bakery. Ava had followed her grandmother, while Marisol stood beside the table with her arms crossed. You knew she was fighting your company, Marisol said. Yes. And you still let her feed you. Daniel looked down at the untouched plate. I told myself it helped me understand what was happening. No, it helped you avoid telling the truth. He had no defense for that. Owen Reed tried to speak, but Daniel stopped him. You're suspended, effective immediately. Rachel Sloane will review every document connected to this purchase. Reed's expression hardened. You came here pretending to be poor. You think the board will support that? They may not. Daniel faced the room. But my conduct does not excuse yours. He asked Rachel to arrange a public review of the project. Then he left the bakery alone. The next morning, Eleanor found him waiting outside the library. He stood near the steps, but he did not block her path. I won't keep you long, he said. You already took longer than you had a right to. I know. She unlocked the front door. Daniel remained outside. I didn't come here to test you, he said. I came to investigate my company, but I let you believe something false because it made my work easier, and because you liked how I treated you. Yes. Eleanor turned toward him. You wanted to know who would respect a man without money. Did it ever occur to you that I deserved the same honesty? It should have. You watched me worry about losing this place. You knew you had power over the sale. I did. You let me talk about my daughter. You met Ava. You accepted a seat at our Thanksgiving table. Her voice never rose. That made each word harder to hear. You didn't give me a choice, she said. You made me part of an investigation I never agreed to join. Daniel nodded. You're right. I don't need your money. I need to know whether I can trust you. I understand. No. You understand the sentence. Trust takes longer. Daniel stepped back from the door. I was wrong, he said. My reasons do not erase what I did. You do not owe me forgiveness. Eleanor looked at him for several seconds. Then respect what I'm asking now. What are you asking? Leave me alone. Fix what your company did. Do it because it is right, not because you want me back. Daniel accepted the answer without bargaining. He walked away as the library doors opened behind her. Daniel returned to Caldwell headquarters the following Monday. He did not hide what had happened in Willow Creek. The board received a written statement before the meeting. Daniel admitted he had entered the town under a false identity. He also admitted that his silence had involved innocent people without their consent. Several directors called his behavior reckless. One demanded his resignation. Daniel did not argue. If the board believes I should step down, I will, he said. But first, we need to address what happened in Willow Creek. Rachel presented the evidence. Owen Reed had pushed the library purchase through before the required public review. He had also changed relocation language after the city approved the original agreement. The board terminated Reed and opened an independent audit. 3 other projects were placed on hold. Daniel cancelled the Willow Creek purchase. He also signed a policy requiring community impact reviews before future redevelopment deals. He did not call Eleanor. Back in Willow Creek, the library remained open. The news should have felt like a victory, but Eleanor could not enjoy it yet. Reporters began calling after Daniel's statement became public. Some wanted a romantic story about the billionaire and the librarian. Eleanor refused every interview. I'm not a lesson in kindness, she told Marisol. And I'm not part of his redemption campaign. Marisol handed her a cup of coffee. Good. You'd hate the lighting anyway. Eleanor smiled for the first time in days. Ava struggled more than she admitted. She had trusted Daniel, too. One evening, she asked whether wealthy people always lied. No, Eleanor said. People lie when they are afraid of what honesty might cost. Do you still like him? Eleanor took time before answering. Yes, that doesn't mean I'm ready to trust him. At the library, a letter arrived from Caldwell's legal office. It confirmed the cancelled sale and transferred no money, gifts, or special favors to Eleanor. Daniel had followed her request. Weeks passed. He attended public meetings in other towns and listened without introducing himself as the owner. This time, everyone knew who he was. Every meeting was recorded, and every decision was published. Eleanor watched one online after Ava went to bed. Daniel looked tired. He also looked honest. When a resident criticized him, he did not defend his intentions. He asked what repair would matter most. For the first time, Eleanor saw him change without asking her to witness it. By January, Caldwell had reviewed every active project in Daniel's division. 2 managers resigned before the audit ended. 4 towns received revised agreements, and several public meetings were reopened. Daniel approved each correction, but he kept his name off the announcements. Rachel noticed. You usually want the board to know when you fix something, she said. I used to think being seen was the same as being accountable, and now I think the work should survive without applause. He also created a staff hotline managed by an outside firm. Employees could report pressure, altered documents, or retaliation. The board resisted the cost until Daniel released the audit results to shareholders. He lost support from 2 longtime allies. He kept the policy. In Willow Creek, Eleanor heard about the changes from Lewis. He worked part-time for a Caldwell contractor and had attended a new training session. They actually asked what workers thought, he said. It was weird. Good weird? Marisol asked. Confusing weird. Eleanor smiled, but said nothing. The library still needed repairs. The heating system failed during a cold snap, and the town budget had no room for replacement. Caldwell offered no private donation. Instead, Daniel appeared at a public council meeting by video. He explained that the original purchase had disrupted the city's funding plan. Then he proposed returning the inspection fees Caldwell had received. The refund belonged to the city, not Eleanor. The council could decide how to use it. After a long debate, the council approved the refund for library repairs. Eleanor understood the difference. Daniel had corrected a company mistake without placing her in debt to him. 3 months after Thanksgiving, a plain envelope arrived at the library. Inside was a handwritten note. I will not ask you to forgive me. I only wanted you to know that I heard what you said. There was no gift, no phone number, no invitation. Eleanor read the note twice, then placed it inside her desk. That evening, Ava found her watching another council meeting online. Do you think he changed? Ava asked. I think he's changing. Is that enough? Eleanor looked at her granddaughter. Not yet, Ava nodded. But maybe someday? Eleanor closed the laptop. Maybe, she said. If he keeps doing the right thing when nobody he loves is watching. Part 9. The choice that cost him. In March, Caldwell's board called an emergency meeting. Several projects had slowed under the new review policy. Investors were angry, and 2 directors wanted it removed. Daniel refused. If we only listen when it is profitable, then we are not listening, he said. One director leaned forward. You are risking this company over one bad project. No, I am correcting a system that allowed one bad project to become many. The board scheduled a public vote at Caldwell's downtown office. Employees, contractors, and community representatives could attend. Eleanor learned about it from Luis. Daniel had not contacted her. He could lose his position, Luis said. Eleanor closed the book cart. That is his decision, but the thought stayed with her. On the morning of the vote, Eleanor took the city bus to Columbus. Ava sat beside her. Marisol came too, carrying bakery boxes. Daniel saw them enter the meeting room. His surprise lasted only a moment. Then he returned his attention to the board. Eleanor did not speak for him. She spoke for the policy. What happened in Willow Creek was not one private mistake, she said. It was a company problem. Mr. Hart admitted his part. Then he changed the process, even when it cost him support. A director asked whether she had forgiven Daniel. That has nothing to do with this vote, Eleanor replied. Accountability should not depend on romance. The policy survived by one vote. Daniel remained chairman, but the board added independent oversight. He accepted the condition. Outside, Daniel approached Eleanor. "Thank you," he said. "I wasn't there to save your job. I know. I came because the policy matters. I know that too." Ava and Marisol moved toward the bus stop. Daniel kept his hands inside his coat pockets. "I think about you. Thinking is easy. What would be harder? Telling the truth before you know how someone will react." He nodded. "Then here is the truth. I hope we can begin again, but I will accept it if we cannot." For the first time, Eleanor believed he meant both parts. 2 weeks later, Daniel returned to Willow Creek for the library reopening. He stood near the back. Children filled the reading room. Eleanor moved through the crowd with Ava beside her. Daniel did not approach until Eleanor walked toward him. "You came," she said. "I said I would support the reopening. You also stayed out of the photographs. I thought the day belonged to the town." Eleanor studied him. "Marisol saved you a slice of pie. That sounds like progress. It means she no longer wants to throw one at you." Daniel smiled. "I'll take it." They carried paper plates to the library steps, the same place where Eleanor had first handed him breakfast. Daniel looked at her. "I should have told you the truth that morning." "Yes, I was afraid you would treat me differently. You never gave me the chance." "I know." Eleanor let the silence settle. It no longer felt sharp. "I'm not ready to forget what happened," she said. "I'm not asking you to, but I would have coffee with you." Daniel's expression softened. "As Daniel Hart?" "As the whole man. No missing details. One honest coffee." "One honest coffee," she agreed. Ava called from inside. Eleanor stood, then offered Daniel her hand. He took it without pulling her closer. Daniel had spent years hiding behind wealth, distance, and excuses. Eleanor taught him that love could only begin after the hiding stopped. Do you think he earned her trust back? Share your thoughts, and stay with us for more heartfelt stories.